Hi, welcome to Repairing Lawnmowers for Profit. In this video we're going to take a trip out in the Mower mobile to pick up a mystery Mountfield petrol lawnmower. And we're going to get started right now. If this is your first time on Repairing Lawnmowers for Profit YouTube channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and tick the bell notification icon. That way I can keep you up to date on all the latest videos that I release and everything that's going on this channel. And best of all, it's completely free. So you can probably hear the rain on this garage roof just bouncing down right now. So I'm going to go and pick this mower up once again in the rain. I'll take my dash cam out with me, we'll film it all, and we'll see exactly what this mystery Mountfield lawnmower is all about. So this is generally just what I do. I just fold the seats down to take kids' car seats out, and I've got this little rug I just lie down here and a cloth, and I always take some adjustable spanners. So this is basically how I go out. I don't want to get there and not be able to fold the handles down and get it in the car, so take a couple of adjustable spanners is a good tip. Right, so I've just arrived at this house, and as you can probably tell here, I'll show you actually, it's absolutely pouring down. Like every time I pick a lawnmower up at the minute, it's just pouring down. Right, I've made it back in the car. That was a bit like, you know, Jurassic Park, when they get back in the house. Well, they had a lovely dog. It was just massive and it was jumping, and I'm not that tall. It was like, it was all over me, honest. I was nearly wrestling with it. Anyway, we went out around the back, and it was in a, basically the woman who lives there gave me a key and said it's in a bunker around the back. So I went out, I was just wandering around in the rain on my own, and I couldn't find it. And then this guy just appeared with this other key and opened this bunker, and he's given me this great big Mountfield petrol lawnmower. He dug it out of this, one of these big plastic storage shed things, and it looks like it's got an electric start on it. So we'll take a look when I get back. I might even stop somewhere on the way home. We'll have a look at this petrol lawnmower, but it's a Mountfield with a power drive, and it looks like it's got an electric start, but it's been there for around about 10 years. But at least it's not been outside in the rain, it has been stored. So this is going to be a tough one to do, so keep watching. We'll take this home and have a look at this. Right, so here we have the mystery Mountfield lawnmower. Unfortunately it's still raining, but this is a Mountfield power drive 463 PD stroke ES with a 46cm cut, a massive horrible looking probably Mountfield engine on it, and an electric start. He said he hadn't had this running for about 6 or 7 years. He actually said he took it somewhere locally to have it serviced every year, but it was like £90 a year, and he just got sick of paying that, and he bought an electric one, which is good for me because I've got this for nothing. He actually gave me this. They offered him something for it actually, and he still said no, just take it. Got the grass box. I'm pretty sure the electric start won't work, so the battery will be flat. And this petrol cap here, I've just noticed, is just like deteriorated. So we dug it out of this box, as you can see, and we just wheeled it around the garden. They gave me a lift in with it, but it's just dirty. So I think what I'm going to do with this, just for fun, and I don't think it's going to run for 1 minute really, but you never know, we'll just drop some petrol in it, and we'll do what we always do, and just give this a test. So I've just had a look underneath, and this blade's all attached alright, and just a couple of things I'm going to look for. I'm actually going to see, I'm going to just see if the fuel line's actually got a shut-off valve on here, and it doesn't appear to have one on. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just pull this handle here and listen for the micro switch. Make sure that sounds like it's working. That all sounds good. And let's see if a miracle can happen. I can't see this starting as the car will be all dirty, and probably wants the valve setting as well, to be honest. It's got the overhead valves on the front that I cover on the Honda DVD. It actually shows you how to set them on the Honda GCV engine. So just for fun, I'll put the camera on the tripod and let's try and start this mower up. Right, so this is the exciting bit. As I said, there's a bit of petrol in there. Let's have a feel of this lever here. Yeah, that feels quite, it's a little bit stiff. Let's try this. It's actually got a pull cord on as well, of course, so if this battery obviously don't work, we can try and pull it over. Let's just be really careful. Yeah, look at the pull cord. Oh, you know. Yeah, brilliant. What a great start. This pull cord doesn't even retract. So that wasn't the best start, was it? Look at this. It's been serviced every end. Pull cord don't even retract, so someone's obviously having some starting issues with this. This is going to be a bit of a strip down job, so the next thing I'm going to do, when it stops raining, if I go in the garage, we'll take all this massive horrible plastic cover off. We'll take this recoil cover off as well, and we'll have a look and see what's gone wrong with that and see if we can get a replacement part for it. I mean, what state it's in. The paintwork actually doesn't look too bad. It's actually got 2007 on the ticket, so 11 years old this year. It's 11th birthday. I think for its 11th birthday, what we should do with this is get it running. Be sure to watch the whole of this video as well, because there's an inbuilt competition, and the winner of this video's competition will receive a Repairing Lawnmowers for Profit DVD. Stay tuned, there'll be some further questions further along this video. Right mate, so let's take a look in here. You're going to do some work with me, aren't you? We'll take this screw out of here and we'll try and get this cover off the top of here, can't we? Right, you see if it lifts off that top bit now. That's it, see if you can pull it off there. Is it coming off?
It's got something attached to it. Oh,
there we are, look,
that's
that
right.
moves out of the way. You can keep that. Make sure your screw's still attached so we don't lose any parts.
Yeah.
Look at the size of this, it's massive, isn't it, this engine on here? I have to get all this off. I'm going to take this recoil off. I'm hoping it's not broke. I'm hoping it's just because it's been sat outside for years. It just wants a bit of freeing off, but if not, potentially I'm going to have to buy a part for that. I can't actually find this petrol cover either. I can't find a spare one anyway. That one had like perished. So we'll take this off. Let's have a look at getting this next bit off. What have we got in here? We'll have to dig some dirt out of these holes here, won't we, and just have a look in there. We'll get all this massive cowling off. It's kind of unnecessary really, isn't it? But right, let's have a look. Yeah, it's just a normal screw in there, so we can get in there, can't we, with this screwdriver. We'll just take that one out. That's it. We'll undo all that, then we can get to everything, can't we? And we can have a good look round this mower. Just clean this off with the hose pipe. Unfortunately, some of the paint's a bit bubbled up, or whatever you want to call it, but it's all still there. It just makes it look a little bit old, which is a little bit of a shame. Yeah, so we've got that one off. What have you spotted? 2 more screws. Where?
This one there. There's that
one in there as well. You'll do them too as well then.
Okay.
Yeah, you can undo them. And we can have a good look round, can't we? We'll undo this recoil as well. What might I need for them? It's like a 10mm socket. I'll get that ready while you set them screws off. Right, where are you putting all these bits?
Putting them right.
No. Where's your magnetic tray?
I'll go and get out of the garage.
Alright. Right, so you've got all them off there, have you?
Yeah.
Right, there's 2, there should be 3. What about that one in there?
Ah.
Let's just see if this lifts off first. See if you can get that off there. Go on, let's take it off. Take it over that petrol cover, don't worry about that. Yeah, so that's away and out of the way. And look, we've got a bit more access here to this. There's a starter motor there as well, isn't there? This electric start. What's happening here? What? Oh, look, you've got clothes and 3 bottles of Estrella. Look, it's got your feet on. It's like a Tom and Jerry cartoon, that. Right, how are we going? Got that off. Let's get this air filter box off. There's a little catch on these, isn't there, at the bottom? There. That's undone pretty much anyway. Just press that in. Right, go on, take it off there. So I couldn't do it with one hand, that's it. That comes away. There's a filter there. It's a bit dusty, but not too bad. You put that in your parts collection. You're keeping everything together and remembering where it came from.
Yeah.
Right, get this socket off here, David. 10mm. You can undo these 3 on here, can't you?
Yeah.
Here, mate. 1, 2 and 3. You undo those and we'll take this recoil off and we'll see if we can get it working. Go on, where's your string? There. Has it gone? There you are. What you got on here?
Gloves.
Who's making you wear them?
Mum.
Mower mum. Yeah. Oh right, okay, go on then. You can have them on if you want. They look quite funky. Them I ain't got any of them.
Yeah.
Alright then. Is that coming off?
There. That's our magnetic tray.
Alright, 2 more to do.
Yep, 2 more to do.
There we are, let's set that in the garage, let's have a look at it. Right, glad to see that off there, aren't you? David, your job's to remind me to turn this tumble dryer back on in a minute. Right, where's that recoil? Let's take a look at it. Right, so this recoil, now I've eventually got it off, there's actually no spring tension in this whatsoever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull all this cord out here, and I'm going to cut it off, and I'm just going to try and wind it round by hand just to see if I can get some tension on it. And what I do with these is I don't muck about with them, I just buy one. If you ever take one of these out of here, the springs are wound so tightly. I think there's a tutorial on YouTube, somebody actually puts a nail in the bench and manages to rewind a spring. Well, I spent a few hours trying to do that and I failed. And it's probably about £5 for a spring and £10 for the whole thing. So before I give up on it completely, I'm just going to pull all this cord out and we're going to cut this off. I'm just going to give it a turn around and make sure that the spring I'm just unwound, I can somehow get it back. What happens is there's like a little tab on the end of the springs and it actually hooks on. And once it snaps off, this just won't rewind. Right, so I'll just cut this off here. I'll do it with a better knife really. I'm just going to pull it out of there. I'm just going to see, as you can see there, there's absolutely nothing. There's no tension whatsoever on that. I'm not going to start on doing all this, as I've probably shown in early videos. Trying to put this back together is a bit of a pain. See, there's a few reasons here why, if you're just starting out doing this, why you want to pick up these Briggs & Stratton 35 Classics and not these. These have been an absolute pain to get these recoil off, because everything was turning at once, and luckily I had this impact tool and I actually managed to get it off. But just little things like how the petrol tank actually sits under here, and you've got to get this off separate. So to get this cowling off here, I've actually got to take the petrol tank off as well. Things like that. I mean, you look at the petrol tank on them little Briggs engines that you can start working on, and you don't have any of this hassle at all. And these type of recoils are quite prone for breaking as well. So I've got a bit more work on here than I wanted to do. So I think the next thing I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to unbolt this petrol tank just to take this off. We can have a look under here and just take a look round at this mower really. I don't actually need to take it off, but I want to know what's underneath and what sort of state it's in as well. Right, so let's just take this battery out of here. You can see it's got this electric start battery in here. It should all just unclip. Just pull that apart. That just pulls off like that. Let's just going to move this battery out of the way, because this battery's no good anyway. I'll pull that out of the way there. And then I've got access to the back of this petrol tank here. So if we come round here, mate, we'll film round this side. We'll take this 10mm socket here. Just take this one off here. What a faff though, just to get the petrol tank off. I can't wait to get this running. This will be great, won't it, if we eventually get this to the point where it runs. Take this part of the way, that normally twists out at the bottom. Like that. See how it unscrews? Let's just leave that there. I don't actually need to take that out. There must be a couple more underneath us. Round the back of here, mate. I'm just going to try and get in here. You can see how difficult it is to try and get in, can't you? This is why having this little socket set, this is a Halford socket set, it's just really handy just to get these bolts off the back of here, just to get in. Sometimes you just need a kit where you can connect things together like that. You see? Sometimes you just can't get in with a spanner. So this is in a little bit of an awkward place under here, isn't it? We'll have to remember to clamp this fuel line as well before we take it off, won't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, so eventually got that off. We can pull that off the back of there, can't we? And that one's out the way. We'll put that to if we don't drop it, we can put that with our collection cart. Remember, that's got a washer on the back as well. Okay. Right, so what I'm going to do to get this tank off first is I'm going to just clamp this fuel line here. You can see here, a bit of a redneck way of doing this, but I'm just going to clamp that. I'm going to undo this clip here. I'll slide that along, hopefully. That's it. I'm going to pull this fuel line off here. It's really tight, because I say, when you get a lawnmower that's been sat outside for ages, you can really tell, because everything just doesn't want to come off. Right, so I pull that off there, and I've just put this in here just to stop it. I'll just take that off there straight away. Make sure I don't split this line. And now this is all free, so I can get to this carburetor and get to this fuel line. It's just spilt a little bit getting out of there. That wasn't my best ever moment, was it? Anyway, we've got that out there, and hopefully this petrol tank, yeah, can you see?
Easy slides off.
Yeah, can you see all of it? All the tank moving away. And we've got this petrol tank and removed, so we can drain all the fuel out of this and make sure this is nice and clean, can't we, when we put it back. Let's take this off here. Hopefully that should just wriggle off there. Make sure you don't lose any bits off here. I think these normally come out, these. We've got that out of the way, and you can film in here, can't we? We can have a look round. So I've got this ignition coil here. It all looks pretty tidy, really. And these were difficult bits to get off, weren't they? You see, these are nearly falling out, look. Oh. Maybe that's why the recoil's broke, so that's not sat in there correctly. But really, it all looks like it's all there, doesn't it? Got a clean enough spark plug in it. So for anyone who's just starting this, who's looking for a motor to avoid this. This is actually an SV200. You'll notice on the, I have playlists on my videos. I actually have a full season playlist of SV150 engines. These are kind of Mountfield's own, like Chinese copy engines, whatever you want to call them. And this is actually an SV200, and I have to say it's absolutely dreadful. It's massive. It's really awkward. They really don't want you playing about with this. I just wanted to show you this really. This is like the magneto, or the ignition coil. This is just for the electric start. I'm not sure if I'm going to bother replacing this. I mean, it'd be a lot easier for me to take this off and just undo all this wiring. I could just take everything off and then just do that, but just for a bit of fun really, I suppose. I want to get it going, so I'm probably going to buy a battery for that and connect that back up. So at least now I've got access to hopefully get this carburetor off. I'll just film these linkages as well for anybody in the future who'll email me and go, have you got the linkage? Where does the linkage go on an SV200? I'll show that. I'll try and remove this and we'll try and film that as well. But at least I can get this carburetor off as well, and we can have a look in here. That's not attached to anything either. See that then? just pull that off. That's actually supposed to attach up there. Whether I've not got off or it was already off, I don't know, but that's back on, so that's got to be a good thing. So you're just going to pull this handle out, just let go of that again. Right, do that a few times so we can see what moves. Listen to that micro switch, listen. So that sounds like it's working alright. That just activates this micro switch and it stops this safety cutout. It just lets all the power go to this ignition coil, so that seems to be working alright, doesn't it? The cable seems to be alright. What are you doing, Scooby-Doo?
Well, I've came out to see this mystery Mountfield.
Oh, it's like a mystery machine trip. Right, okay. Hey Scooby. So while I've got this impact tool, I actually bought this for releasing this nut so I can get these flywheels off a bit easy rather than trying to wedge a piece of wood underneath and stop everything turning. So let's see if it's powerful enough to do this job. Wow, look at that.
Straight off.
The difference there between having to do that and trying to wedge the blade so it doesn't turn underneath is massive. So this is a Clark impact tool. I'll actually link to this. Above this where you can see now, just above here, I'll just put a card in the corner so you can see my review of this impact tool. So take a look at that as well. Right, let's just set this off here, look. This all lifts off. Just keep all that together. What we're looking for down in here, I'm going to check this flywheel key at the top of here. I'll actually take this off and have a look. It's quite difficult to tell where it is. Can you see right in that gap there, right down there? I'm sure that's supposed to line up there, so while I've got this tool I might as well just have a check of this keyway. What I'm checking here is this keyway at the top. You can see this keyway is actually sat in this crank here, and this all looks good as well. That's nice and even and lined up. I'll take it out and have a proper look in a second when I get a screwdriver. Everything looks as good as it should. What I'm going to do is just clean out in here, and the idea of taking this off is I actually want to get this starter off and all this wiring up, and I'm going to connect this up to a battery. I'm going to try and fire this just to make sure it all works before putting it back on. So I really do want the electric start to work on this. If I can get it sorted, that'd be great. So to unbolt it, I've had to take this flywheel off, so using that impact tool is it's really helped me out. So I think what I'm going to do with this ignition is I'm going to actually unbolt the whole lot, everything from here. This ignition coil here, take all the wiring out, it runs right around the back here, it actually connects up. I'm going to take all that off, and I'm going to take all this off the handle as well. My dad actually likes messing about with stuff like this. So he used to be an electrician, that was his main trade. So I'm going to give him all this, take all the wiring off. He's got the starter and he'll get me a battery and make sure that this starter motor is actually firing correctly. So I'm going to unbolt all these parts now across here and just take all this off. Right, let's have a look in here, try and get these connectors off. It's turning into be a bit of a fiddly job is this one, isn't it? Have to get some long nose pliers and I'll just pull that off there. That's one of them off. Just sneak this other one in from underneath here. And what I've got to do now is just push these back down here through this hole, and we're just going to pull all this little wiring loom out through the back of here. I'll just push that down there, this wiring through here with these little clips on here, these electrical connectors. I've got that off. So if I take that away from there, I'll take that round here somehow. Let's just take that off from around there. We'll go around here. I've just got to get this starter off here. This whole thing's just disassembled then. We can take all this wiring loom off here and we can connect it all up in the line, and hopefully we can test this. I'm just going to pull up on here. As you can see, I've just loosened this off. I won't show why it won't coming off, it just wanted wriggling off a bit. And we've got this whole part here, this starter's away, and we can test this. I'm going to take it all off. You see, it all looks to be alright, I'm sure. I'm not doubting it works alright, but while I've got it in bits I might as well take it off rather than rebuild all this and then find out it doesn't work. So if it doesn't work, I'll probably just leave it off. So I'm going to take all this off here now, disconnect it from here, right from the key. I've got everything out that I need. I can test this starter. Just taking it all off down the side of this handle, just cut all these cable ties off. As you can see here, I think there's little Torx bits ones here, so I'm just going to unscrew that. I've got it all out. This key, as you can see, is luckily for me, is where it's supposed to be and it's not got lost. So I'm going to unbolt that now. Let's just have a go at that. So here's the whole thing, here's all the cabling, all this wiring loom to here. This is where the battery's going to connect up to, and this is where it connected to the micro switch, so I've got it all laid out. This is the starter. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take this over to my dad and he can connect it up to one of his batteries and he can play about with that and just make sure it's working. And if it's not, I'm sure he'll have a bit of a mess about in his starter and he'll get this going for me as well. So if I get a chance I'll go around and film it, but that's taken off now. I think it's going to start raining again as well, which is ridiculous. But I'm just going to blast all this out just to clean it off a little bit more. And while it's in this state, I'm probably just, now the next job I'm going to tackle, so I'm going to take this air filter box off the top of here. We'll take this carb off and service this. No point putting it all back together when I'm so close to getting this carburetor off. Right, we're just going to extract this oil using this Pella oil extractor. There are actually cheap ones of these available. I reviewed one the other day. But I always like this one. You can pump it up a bit more, mate, for that. Go on, give it a few goes. Go on, make sure you're pulling it right out to the top. That's it. Although we haven't had a chance to run this oil, have we? Run this mower to warm this oil up. We're just going to try and extract it. So I want to tip it up and do the underside of it and clean the belt guard off. Take a look at this underneath of this deck as well. So we'll just extract this out. Go on, so here we go. This is the Rockwood one. We just thought we'd try the end of this. We're going to give this a few goes and just see how long it lasts. The time we do these more stuff. I had a lot of comments on the video saying these weren't very good really, and they only lasted a bit of time. But if you're just getting started, it's got to be a better way than tipping your lawnmower up to change the oil. Even for whatever these are, £10. I'd much rather do that than tip a lawnmower up. It's working, it's doing the job for now anyway. Yeah, that'll do us, buddy. It's all coming out, isn't it? So now I've got no fuel on this mower. I've actually got the petrol tank off, maybe a little bit in the carb, and we've tipped the oil out as well. I can tip this lawnmower up, of course. We've removed this spark plug as well. And I'm going to use my impact tool again just to get this blade off. You can see it's I keep saying this on this video that this lawnmower's supposed to have been serviced, but it's been sat in this garden for about probably 6-7 years, he said. And even the blade doesn't look like it's ever been sharpened at all. It really doesn't look like they've been servicing it, and I don't like to say that. And there's actually a service ticket on it and it doesn't say where did it. But this blade certainly doesn't look like it's been sharpened or anything. Unless you can have a minor service or something where they don't sharpen the blade, but it seemed a pretty basic thing to do. So anyway, I've got this tipped up. So we'll take this blade off, I'll get my impact tool and we'll take that off, and we'll take this belt guard cover off here. And we'll just wire brush off all this old grass under here, and we'll sharpen this blade up while there's no oil or petrol in this mower. We've got a 14mm impact socket here. That feels nice and tight anyway, we'll put that on. I'll just have a go at getting this blade off, rather than trying to rip my hands to bits using an old towel as I've done on loads of other videos. I'm just going to try it with this. I'm not even WD-40'd this or wire brushed it like I used to do or anything. Let's just give this a go. So I'm just going to try and get this belt guard cover off here, and I'm guessing that under here somewhere there'll be hopefully a screw I can release. Yeah, look at that. Oh yeah, I can move it, David. That's good, isn't it? Just. It's always best to do these jobs when, if you can, when there's no petrol on the mower or any oil in it. If you've got both them things out, of course you're free to tip this right over and do everything you want to do, which is great. So I'm going to take this one off. I'm not sure if there's going to be a couple more that are holding this up. I always like to do this as well because these are always full, absolutely full of grass. And that one's not bad actually. Seen a lot worse than that, haven't we?
Oh,
so
yeah.
we can clean that out of there. We can just get in and clean all this off. We'll just get a wire brush and we'll wire brush that off. So while I'm under here, as I said, I'm just going to wire brush all this off. This deck doesn't look too bad under here, does it? I mean, look at that bit. That bit's great. I wish it was like that on the outside. But I'm going to take all this rubbish off this transmission as well. You can see all this wrapped around here. I'm going to blow all this out with my compressor, which is you can't really get in. But this, you don't want it dragging the belt off. Stuff like this in here. So you can see all this coming out. That's all it can take sometimes, just to drag a belt off. You don't want these fats coming off. This belt, yeah, looks reasonably good. I suppose it looks a bit old, but we can try it. And other things I'm looking at are this blade adapter. It's got both these pins on. So yeah, oh, you got a wire brush. Did you find one, mate?
Yeah.
And all we're going to do now is just go around here, clean all this off, aren't we? Make it nice and tidy. Blow these cobwebs off this mystery Mountfield, David. Get my ball patch on. There you laugh now.
Wow.
Won't be long till you get yours. Hey? Last thing I want, isn't it, having a bald son? Hey? Oh, David, we do have fun, don't we, sometimes?
Oh, yes.
Hey? What's your brother doing?
I don't know.
Right, so next job I'm going to do, while I've got everything out of the way and I can actually get to this air filter box, is we're just going to remove this air filter box and we're going to take this carburetor off. I'll show you where all the linkages go as well, and we'll service this carburetor. So this video is going to be really helpful for anyone with an SV200 petrol lawnmower engine on one of these Mountfield mowers. I'm going to show you the linkages in just a second. Right, so let's have a go at this. This looks pretty straightforward, to be honest. I'll tell you what, let's just remove that breather pipe from there. That all undoes. Can you film in there just in case all these linkages drop down for me? I should take a photograph really, but I think it's pretty simple, this one. Don't look too difficult. I'll take all these parts off. Let's see what happens. This air filter box is just going to come off. That's good, isn't it? Right, we've got that out there. I'll just take that off there. So let's take a look in here. This is, as I've said, an SV200 engine. So if you're taking these linkages apart and you're trying to rebuild your mower at the minute, I could be your saviour, because these are where these little things hook onto. So this is the springs here. I'm just showing this really for anyone sort of in the future. If this video has been on YouTube a few years, I get questions asked, where do these springs fit on this SV200? And I think I know what to do now. I'll just link them to this part of this video. So this is where it all goes. This is how everything moves about. This is how it's all connected up. So I've also got this just as a backup for when I take all this off. It's not too bad actually, there's only a couple, isn't there? It all hooks on here. This one goes on this side here, hooks down the back of there, and then there's two that run all the way to the back here, right into this arm here. And I know what people are thinking watching this video. They're thinking, what an absolute pile of junk these are. And I have to say, I kind of tend to agree with you. It's becoming a bit of a faff, is this mower, but I don't want to let it beat me really. I could have easily just stripped this down and sold it for spares, or just sold it on. I mean, I got it for free. It didn't cost me anything. But once I've started, I kind of like to just see it through, especially because it gives me a chance to film a video and help a few people out who are trying to repair their own mower. So I've just take this gasket off here. Make sure that's the right way around. You see that where it's all got little indentations in it. We'll keep that like that. We'll try and slide this off here and we'll see what the best way to do this is going to be. Wow, these are long. Look at the length of these here. There's nothing I can unhook before I've got this off, so let's just wiggle this off. This heat shield here, just stopping me get it off. Actually, this height adjuster's just annoying me a little bit. I should be able to just move the height adjuster out the way. I'll move that there, that gives me a little bit more space. I'll take that off. Let's have a look at how the hook on. Just going to try and unhook this top one first here. So if we just pull that through there, it's always a bit fiddly doing this. You always feel like you're not doing it the right way, but I've never found a better way of doing it, to be honest. Let's just try and unhook that one. Oh, there, that's one out. That's moved a little bit more. These are really quite fiddly. That one pops off the top. We've got this little spring to pop out of there. Not trying to bend anything. Try and keep everything together. We've got this carburetor off, so you can see it's pretty dirty. So I'm going to clean that off. I'm going to put a bit of carb spray on the outside and blow it off with the compressor. Then we'll remove this bowl and we'll just have a look inside and we'll service this carburetor. Well, just for reference, behind this heat shield thing here, there's actually this, we call it a gasket, it's like a spacer. So if you've tried to put it back together and you've forgotten this might help you out. So that actually goes there, and this heat shield goes in front of it, and then the carburetor goes on. I thought it was just worth filming that short clip, because I know I tried to do this once with a Honda one, and I missed this part off and I couldn't get it running right, and I found it on the bench, so that does fit on there in that order. What are you doing down there? What have you got?
Washing this piece off.
Oh, what piece is it? It's a belt guard, isn't it, that was full of grass. That's good, Dave. That's nice and clean, mate. Right, let's just unscrew this. That was really stiff as well. Everything I've undone on this mower, because it's been set outside, has been so stiff. I've struggled to get nearly every part off it. I've just seen some petrol drop out of it. I didn't really want to do that, but what came out just looked so manky. So that bowl's dropped off. Look at the state of that in there. Look at this, look at all this rubbish around there. There's no way that was going to get running, was there? Look at the mess of that, just stale fuel. So we're going to have to service this carb. So I'll tell you what we'll do. Shouldn't really do it out here, but I'll do it. Can you film this? Yeah, can you see well? Can you see?
Yeah, of course.
Right, I'll just pull this pin out of here, look. Don't let me lose any bits. And then this will come out with a needle on. That needle will probably drop off. Oh, look, that's stayed on. No, there's a spring on there. Can you see?
Yeah.
Don't let me lose that bit. Look at the state of this in here. Can you film in there? Look, can you see all that?
Oh, that's a
Wow.
complete manx.
I mean, that's never going to run, is it? No matter where I pulled it over or tried. That's absolutely full. That's as bad as I've seen, actually. So what I'm going to do is spray this up with carb spray. I'm going to remove this main jet here. You need a flat-headed screwdriver. Just take this out. Take any other parts out you can get out and just basically clean all this off. I should have really cleaned the outside of this off before I started servicing it, but to be honest, I forgot. So we'll rub some carb spray on this and we'll just get it all off, really. We'll blow it all out with the compressor, can't we? Right, we'll just clean this out a bit. I've just got this air compressor. Hey, look, it's actually got some tape on. You know why that's on there?
Yeah.
I was blowing paddling pool up, wasn't I?
Yeah.
Like, not blowing it up like a bomb, just blowing it up, wasn't I? So we'll just remove this main jet here. Just started that off, actually. Found a screwdriver. You can probably tell inside of there it's looking a lot cleaner. So we'll just take that out. We'll run some carb spray on that. We'll just clean that a little off. Always make sure there's a tiny little hole in there just to make sure it's nice and clean. So I've just removed that jet. As you can see there's still a part in there. And now what I normally do to get this out, you can see in the centre there, between these two these butterflies here, I'm actually going to get an Allen key, and if you just pull that from the top, it'll actually pop out the bottom of there. So you must take that out when you're cleaning these carburetors off. And of course, don't forget, this is just as important to clean all this ball out. So you don't want to be putting nice clean fuel in there and letting all that send itself, all this rusting dirt and all sorts of crud back into this jet. So you must clean the ball out as well. So what we're going to do now is I'm just going to put this Allen key here, and hopefully, you see how I get it in like that at the side? Put it in like that.
Yep.
I'll just lean it on top of it. It should drop down. See? There we are. See how that's just dropped out?
Yep.
So we'll clean that off with some carb spray and blow that through. Right, so let's try and put this carburetor back together. Make sure you've got this needle here and the spring's still attached. Yeah, we've cleaned all that off with carb spray. So we'll just drop that back in there. Then we've got our pin that goes through, haven't we? If we can just do that, slide that up a little bit. That should just go back through there with a little bit of fiddling about. There we are, that's in. And always make sure that this is going up and down as well, and you can actually see in here. Make sure that that needle is actually going up and down and nothing's sticking. So, next job is we're going to put this back in. Just slide that back in. Tap it down to the bottom. And then you want to put this last part in here with a cutout for the screwdriver facing you. So you can just get in and screw it back in. Basically, that's all you need to do. And we'll just reattach the ball as well and tighten everything back up. And that carb service, it's all been blown out. It's had carb spray all over it. And it's been blown out with a compressor. If you haven't got a compressor, just use a can of air duster. Basically, just get it blown out and get all the dirt out of it. And we'll put this ball back on here. I always like to work out which way it's going to go on the lawnmower. Can you see there? I always like to work out which way it's going to go on and try and put the ball somewhere near that way so you can get to this drain plug should you need it. I don't want it kind of facing that way. Not that you ever use it very often, but the correct way really is to have this part so you can actually get to it. So getting this carburetor off is not actually too bad once you take everything else off around it and you can actually get in. So all that's left to do is put this back in here. We'll just tighten this up, make sure this is nice and tight as well. You don't want any leaks when you get this back on your mower. The last thing you want is anything leaking out. We'll just tighten that back up there and we'll just put this carburetor back on. So things are beginning to take shape, aren't they? We're getting through a few little jobs here. What do you mean don't sell this lot? What do you mean? You just said don't sell it, haven't you? Why can't I sell it? What's wrong with it?
We're missing half the parts.
Well, what because I've taken them off? I've not lost any, have we?
No.
But you think it's worth anything?
What's the matter for a few quid? I can't
Yeah, a few quid. I got it for free, this. Do you think if I can get it going, we'll get... I don't know, it's not in brilliant condition. It must be worth £70, £80, I think.
If you get it running nice.
Well, yeah, alright. Doing my best.
It's Mower Man. God's just going to get it.
Yeah, I'll do my best. Of course I'll get it running. I'm Mower Man.
Mower
I've
Man.
even got a t-shirt that says it, haven't I?
Yeah.
Right, so I've had a fiddle about. Didn't bother filming all that because it's quite hard with one hand. I've got all these linkages back on here. This is as it was before. Don't forget this little gasket goes on. I'm just going to push this all back on here like that. That don't feel quite right. Something not right there. I feel there's a lot of tension there.
Something there going on.
Yeah, I don't know what I've done there. So I've obviously made a mistake. Let's take a quick look. So all it was really was this. This had just pulled over the top of this arm here. So all I've done is hooked it back over the top and this just pushes back. Thought I'd done it right. I even watched the video clips back just to check. So I've got that spring on there. Everything looks like it's moving alright, doesn't it? Yeah? See if that opens up. Oh, that'll open when that opens up, I see. Yeah, just test it. What have you got? You got the throttle? Yeah, let's just test that. I'll just push that. Yeah, that's all working. Go right. Put it onto the slowest speed, that one, that's right. And then, is that on the slowest? No, that's the fastest, isn't it? Put it on the slowest because that should shut completely. Is that as far up as you can pull it? And that should be shut. Yeah, that's shut. Open it up a little bit. Need to make sure this shuts properly because this is what actually chokes your mower when it starts. So open it up to full, David. Yeah, and then take it back off again. Yeah, and I'm happy that that's opening and closing correctly. That looks good. I've just noticed actually putting this carburetor on, of course, I've put this gasket in the wrong place. I don't know why I've done that, but obviously there'll be a few people in the comment section typing away furiously, so that actually sits on here. So I'm just going to pull this carburetor off and of course put this gasket back there. It's probably because I'm waiting for my tea. I'll pop that back on there. Oh, it's correct. I'll just put this air filter box back on. All we've got to do then is screw this back on here, haven't we? At least the carburetor service, that's one good job done. I've actually cleaned out this petrol tank. I actually drained out all the old petrol. I put in it, it was dry, and I put a bit in it, so I've drained all that out and I've blown it all out. All the air lines blown, all the fuel lines out. So that's all nice. It's been out in the garden drying out all afternoon. So I've got a nice clean carburetor and I've got a nice clean petrol tank, and all the petrol lines are clean, so that shouldn't be causing me a problem. We've just sprayed this up, haven't we, with some Sprint. I use Sprint cleaner. I just sprayed it on with the bottom. We've just left it a few minutes. I'm just going to clean all the dirt. You see all this stuff? We're just going to clean all that off and just blow this off with this compressor, aren't we?
Yeah.
I've got this lawnmower tips. As I said, there's no oil or petrol in it, which is great because I can get right under this. It gives me full access. So all I'm going to do now, I'm just going to blow all this dirt out of here with the compressor. As I said, these pins on this adapter are alright. So I've got my compressor there, and then I've got this belt guard to put back on as well. And then I don't need to go under this anymore. I'm just going to sharpen the blade up in the garage and we'll put the blade back on as well. So yeah, not bad. I mean, I've wire brushed this deck off, as you can see. It's not 100% perfect, but it's not going to rot either. So let's just blow this off a bit with this compressor. What have you been eating?
Chocolate cake.
Monkey chocolate cake. It's all over your face. I've just dropped the screw in that bucket.
Ooh.
Gonna go get it out?
Yeah.
Go on, lad. I've got my belt guard cover and I dropped the screw in, didn't I, when I was getting it out.
Nice, buddy.
Let me just move that so no one gets in. Blast of air on them. Right.
How small is it?
Go on, stick your arm in. Come on, you're live on YouTube.
Oh, I found
Good
it.
lad. Oh, messing.
Here it is.
Ta-da! Right, come on
Screw.
then. Let's put this belt guard cover on. Yeah, I really should get a bench. I'm always bent down, aren't I, doing stuff. How did that go? Was it like that? I think it was, wasn't it? Just take a look at this side here.
Wet screwing.
Yeah, I think that's got on. We had a bit of fiddling about with that, but it all lines up nice and even now. Let's just put that in and see if that tightens up. Yeah, that was a little bit fiddly, wasn't it? I'm just going to sharpen this blade up in a minute. You can probably see it's just a bit of a mess. I'm just going to take some of this rubbish off here. It doesn't look particularly sharp. I mean, it hasn't got massive dinks out of it. There's plenty of life left in it. But it doesn't look like it's ever been sharpened either. So before I normally do this, before I normally balance them up, I just normally take a bit of this old rust off. As I said, this has been sat outside forever. You know, it's probably the main cause of it being like that. So I always take a bit of it off and I just run it along the grinder along here. And I just put it on a balancing tool and make sure it's not totally tipped to one side. It's pretty straightforward, really. And if you are going to do this, just be very careful. You can always take this to a shop to get it done as well. If you're not looking to repair for profit and you're just looking to do this for your own mower at home, you could always take this to your local shop and they'll probably sharpen one of these up for about £10. Or even buy a new one. I mean, I think I purchased one for ours recently, didn't I? It was about £15. The difference it made to cutting your grass was pretty good. Right, so we've got this blade back on. We've got this belt guard back on. Everything's nice and clean and tidy under there. So I've got absolutely no reason whatsoever to need to go under there again. And that can go back over there. And I can work on it. I love to do that when there's no petrol or oil in it because you can tip it right over and all the work underneath that lawnmower's done. Right, let's have a look at this on here then. So what have you done with it? You just check these terminals on here, haven't you? Everything's on there. You've tested, you've got a golf battery on it and you've hooked everything up, so we're just going to try it, aren't we? Right. Well, that's all working, isn't it?
Keep it dry.
Right. So if it doesn't start, you're better off pulsing this key, aren't you? There's no point leaving it turned on a starter motor, so it'll just wear it out, won't it? Alright, so that all connects up. Right, so I can put that back on. Okay, so I've just purchased a new battery for this this electric start. As you can see, this was £14. So I've just connected that up, and you can probably tell here. See, everything's working as it should. So I've just temporarily put these cables up to here and just joined them on just temporarily. We're going to rewire all this round, put all these parts back on now I know it's working correctly, and then hopefully this will start this mower without having to use this broken recoil. I'm still debating whether to actually replace that or not, because the cheapest one I can find currently is £20. So I probably will do, but we'll have to wait and see. So I'm going to reconnect all this up, put all the wiring back. I probably watched my previous video clips back just to check it all goes in the right order. I've got everything the right way around. I'm going to reattach this flywheel on the top and tighten that up. Maybe put some fuel and oil back in this and just attempt to start this mower. So I've got everything bolted back on here now and the starter's on, and I had a bit of difficulty with this. I got a new battery for it, and the problem was every time I connected the battery, this coil jumped forward, and it shouldn't have done. It shouldn't have been active until I actually turned this key. So I've had a bit of a fiddle about with it. Unfortunately I haven't been able to film as much as I wanted to do, so I wanted to try and get it fixed. So obviously I want to sell this on. But it came to the I came to the conclusion that it was just this connector wasn't connected right, and every time I connected the battery up, this actually activated itself. It started smoking a bit, and I thought that don't seem correct. So I checked the micro switch. I even pulled it off the micro switch, and that was all right, and re-crimped everything on. And eventually I worked out that just because this connector hadn't pushed in all the way properly, it was kind of live all the time. And the only time it should be live is if you pull this, make the micro switch work, and then turn this key. So anyway, I've got that all connected up, so I just temporarily dropped this tank on the back, a little bit of fuel in it, and we tried to turn it over. My dad was here with me, so he just wanted to see if it'd start. And it all connected up, and the starter turned and the flywheel turned. It didn't fire up because the battery was kind of dead at that time. But one thing I did notice just as we were trying to start this up is it wasn't turning over even, and this is a massive giveaway when you get one with a broken pull cord. I think someone, you know, sometimes if the valves won't set in, they're really hard to pull over, and that's when these recoils get broken. So what I'm going to do tonight, while I'm waiting for this battery to charge, is I'm actually going to take this overhead valve cover off here, and I'm actually going to get these valves set and just make sure they're checked right. Now, I don't obviously have an operating manual or a service workshop manual for this, so I sent Mountfield an email earlier today, and about 40 minutes later I got a really nice email back, and it's given me the actual service manual for this, so I will know the actual settings for these valves and what width to set them. So tonight, let's just unbolt this and we're going to set the valves on this, because as it was turning, it was really clunky going round. It wasn't spinning as free as I would like to have seen it. We're back in the garage. I've just dropped this lawnmower on this bench. I'm just going to remove this overhead valve cover. I've actually got a tray underneath here, because when you take these off, obviously you're going to get a bit of oil dropping out of here. So just on my bench just below where you can see here, there's actually a metal tray, probably hear it there. So let's just take these off, and we're going to set these valves, because if you're trying to start this on an electric start and the valves aren't set correctly, you're not kind of going to get enough bump to start this off. Or even if you're trying to pull it over and the valves aren't set, it can get really clunky when you're trying to pull it. And I'm sure this is why these recoils break as well, as I've said out there. What happens is you have to pull them really hard and they're kind of really lumpy, like juddering all the way across to try and start these mowers. So it's pretty important on these, if you want them to start up as well as they can do and feel really smooth on the pull cord, you need to get these valves set correctly, because if they're out, it makes a massive difference. I actually bought one of these. If you look back on previous videos, I bought one with the overhead valves on from an auction, and somebody didn't buy it because they said the recoil was broken. When I got home, I had to agree that it felt really difficult to pull over, and once I'd set the valves, it pulled over absolutely perfectly. I'll just lift this off here. I think it's about off there. That's come off really easy. And there's actually a gasket on there. It's not actually just got a gasket sealant on, there is actually a gasket on there. And here you can see these valves here. And this is what we need to set. We need to set these two valves here, this one and this one. So we'll get the tolerances off this workshop manual Mountfield have sent me. So what we're going to need to do this is actually remove this spark plug, because we're going to need to find top dead centre, which is when the piston is actually at the top of this. And it's from there that you can set these valves. There's actually a really detailed video of this, and good camera angles as well, on the Honda Repairing Lawnmowers for Profit DVD. I actually set the valves on a Honda GCV 135, and I do a really good close-up shot of exactly how to do this. What we're going to do really is just find top dead centre. We're going to set the gap here. So I've just looked at the specification in the book. Rather than film all this again, I've actually, as I've said, got a really detailed video here. I'm just showing you on my phone. This is how to set the valves on a Honda. It shows you how to set this everything you need to know, basically, how to adjust everything, how to undo everything, how to set everything. So rather than me film all this video, I'm just going to link above this, in the top right hand corner of your screen, I'm going to link to this video, which is on my YouTube channel, and this video is actually part of the Honda repair manual DVD I have for sale, and it's in far more detail than I've got time to film now. So if you're looking at setting the valves on an overhead cam lawnmower, take a look at the top right of the screen and there should be a link to this video. This might seem a bit daunting at first, but all there really is on these, this is just a locking nut on the back here, and this is just your adjustment. So all you've got to do really is get the right width of your feeler gauge and slide it down the gap there. As you can see, these are really too tight. All you've got to do is undo the locking nut anyways. I'm going to show you in the video from the card that's posted above a few seconds ago, and then basically set it with a bigger one behind it until you've got it so this just drags nicely in the gap here between the rocker arm here. That's all you've got to do. I haven't set it yet, so I'm going to undo this locking nut, and I'm just going to set this as per the specifications I've shown that I've got from Mountfield, and then I know these valves are set, and when I get this all bolted back together I'll have every chance of this starting up on the electric start. All I've done so far is just undo this locking nut here on the back, this one here, and I'm just going to back this off a little bit, try the feeler gauge in it and then tighten it up. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to mess about until the feeler gauge just drags through here between the back of this rocker arm here. That's all you need to do to set the valves. It's not rocket science really, it just looks a little bit daunting if you're not used to doing this sort of thing and you're only used to sort of doing the Briggs and Stratton, you know, 35 classic engines. This takes a bit more work, but it's important that this is right because, as I said, it won't pull over properly, it won't fire properly, and you'll have all sorts of problems with it. So I'm just going to slip a feeler gauge down the back of here. You can see there, I can actually get this gauge in now. It's very difficult to film, but all I'm going to do is just keep nipping this top one up, just turn it over a little bit, and when I get it to the correct position there, see I can't get the gauge in there, just back it off a little bit. All I'm going to do is get it to the correct position and lock it up using this locking nut, and then recheck it. See there how it just drags? There's just a slight drag on there. So what I need to do now, I'm going to get the 12mm spanner on the back and the 10 on the front and lock this up, and I'm going to retest it. I've got these both set exactly as I want them now. There's just a slight drag on both of them. It's exactly what I want. I'm happy with that. Make sure that this is on top dead centre on the compression stroke as well. You want to make sure it's on that one. You don't want to be doing it on the exhaust stroke, it has to be on the compression stroke. Sorry, change this feeler gauge, top one. There's a slight drag on there, and I'm happy with that. That's how I've set the valves on this Mountfield petrol lawnmower. Just taking this round to my dad's because he's charging my battery up. I can't wait to see if it starts or not. Right, so you might have seen just wheeling through the street because I've just put all this back together, and I knew the battery was on charge because you've got a battery charger. I was like, I'm just going to connect this up, and I just couldn't wait to try it really, so we'll connect it up and we'll give it a go. Is that my battery? That's mine, isn't it? Right, so you start it up then, pull that. Give it a go on key, see what we get. Is it on choke? Put it onto choke. Try it on choke up there. Right up there, go on. There we go, that's working then, isn't it? So let's see if this competition has a winner. Post down below in the comments section. I want 2 time codes within sort of 10 seconds. I want one where you saw Scooby-Doo, and the second one where you saw the bottles of lager in the wash basket. Post both the times down below in this video. The first person to do that in the comments section wins a Repairing Lawnmowers for Profit DVD. So as you can tell, I've got this mower home, and I've just started to cut the grass here. We're going to do a test cut in a minute. I'll just put you on time lapse for that. And I've got this mower running really great now. It's fantastic. I'm just going to find this key. We'll just fire it up one more time. And it all fires up and runs and idles. The only thing I haven't actually done with it is cut the grass, and I've got to find a petrol cap cover as well for this. So we'll just put this on choke. Put that on. So what we're going to do now is just put my tripod on and we'll just cut this grass, and you can see that it's all working exactly as it should. We've got this electric start Mountfield Power Drive 463 PD-ES 46cm cut lawnmower, running once again. Don't forget I got this for free. Remember the picture I showed you at the beginning of the video? Look the rest in a minute. That's running well, isn't it? So that's cutting nice, all the self-drive's working right, and I'm quite happy with that. It's a little bit tatty, I could probably paint this up a little bit along the bottom. There's a couple of bits I might just do that, but just for now I'm going to finish filming this video.